In the heart of Saudi Arabia, an ecosystem of innovation is rapidly emerging. Powered by the National Technology Development Program, or NTDP, this is where ideas are transformed into groundbreaking startups and where the future of technology meets ambition. With a $700 million budget, NTDP is on a mission to foster sustainable growth and elevate the kingdom's startup ecosystem.
Our main mandate is to build, uplift, and foster the growth of the tech startup ecosystem in the country.
Since inception, we have deployed around $1 billion.
We want to increase the number of entrepreneurs in the ecosystem.
What we focused on is how can we provide incentives so they can have a sustainable contribution to the economy.
If you look at the different goals that program have, it's like an answer to all the different challenges we've been hearing from entrepreneurs aspiring to grow further and more.
So it's not really about the amount, it's also about the quality of advices that those founders are getting. It's about the quality of funding. It's about the connections to the right stakeholders. So all of these things are part of what NTDP is trying to do.
NTDP, I think timing-wise, they developed this initiative and many programs have come out of this. Things that are meant to attract entrepreneurs, skill set, talents from overseas other markets.
We're up to at least 6 initiatives now that impact our portfolio quite directly in one form or another.
As part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, NTDP is working to shape a future where tech startups thrive, creating lasting impact both locally and globally.
They have the understanding of all stages related to the company.
The great thing about NTDP, they don't interfere in your company. They just provide support.
With the enablement that the government is providing, I decided to give it a shot.
If NTDP didn't support us, it will take us another 3, 4, 5 years to reach this point we are in today.
Having NTDP present and a part of the ecosystem, it expedites the process of building deep tech companies.
Especially at the beginning, you need believers. Having a believer like NTDP with programs such as Next Era, it's a validation for this startup.
But how does a country with bold ambitions support the entrepreneurs who will drive its success? Through 18 products under the National Technology Development Program.
NTDP is an amazing program. It helps all companies and all startups in Saudi Arabia from the idea stage until the IPO, like the Unicorn program.
We have used most of the NTDP programs, starting from MVP Lab.
We predominantly leverage Tech Crew service.
We applied to Next Era. I think hundreds of companies applied, and we were happy to be one of the companies that got accepted.
I can't imagine ourselves being here today without having this program in place.
I'm mainly looking for startups that are backed by NTDP. All of them are backed by NTDP.
They have something or another that they benefited from any of the initiatives.
Every day there's a new program, so it impacts almost every vertical of their operations, from their staffing and payroll, from their business development, and of course to the funding. So it's been quite critical, like in a lot of ways, for the local ecosystem.
At the heart of NTDP's mission are flagship programs designed to support tech startups at every stage, from inception to global expansion. Whether you're a founder just starting out or a company on the verge of unicorn status, NTDP provides targeted solutions to help you succeed.
You know, at the very beginning when the program was created, we were very excited about what are the gaps they're going to choose at the beginning. But I think one of the most things that I liked is that they only developed this after talking to all of the ecosystem and shareholders, be it entrepreneurs of different stages, be it the VCs, be it the government bodies, even the partners that will support in the co-creation of this initiative. And I think that shows only an entrepreneurial mindset and a lot of resilience.
Since Vision 2030 has been announced, there was an interesting momentum in the market. And this is where NTDP came to really accelerate this momentum. So instead of, for example, waiting for 100 companies or 100 or 200 companies per year to create like a one company after a few years as a winner in that innovation ecosystem, it's better for us to create a bigger funnel of 1,000 plus or maybe even thousands and create more winners by year 4 or 5. And this is where I think the whole idea of NTDP is to stimulate and accelerate the ecosystem.
Starting from MVP Lab, we started the initial ideation of the company. Then we got accepted into Boost, which helped us come in full-time and commit fully to the company. We're also now using Connect for one of our POCs with a big client, a government entity in Saudi, and also we're planning to apply to Next Era. We also got accepted to Tech Crew. So I always say that to founders when I meet in events, it doesn't cost you money to start a startup in Saudi. You can just start without even leaving your job.
The great thing about it, the program, that helps you in various stages. It's not specifically tailored for one stage.
As we continue to grow, the train will never stop. I think we'll continue to have NTDP as our partners and supporters as we continue to get to a unicorn and beyond.
If you're a startup founder considering Saudi Arabia as your base, or an investor looking to support local innovation, NTDP offers valuable resources to the region's entrepreneurial ecosystem.
We are a developmental fund, so our main mandate is to build and foster the growth of the tech startup ecosystem. We serve two markets or two clients. We help the entrepreneurs and the founders to build their companies, to build their startups, and we help them to go to the market, not only in Saudi Arabia, regionally and globally as well. And we provide them with a lot of non-dilutive or zero equity grants. The secondary client are the VC funds and private equity funds. We work with them closely to secure the pipeline of their future investments.
Let's take a closer look at some of the most popular products.
MVP Lab provides grants of up to 500,000 Saudi riyals, along with invaluable mentorship, office space, and networking opportunities. This program helps turn ideas into viable products, laying the foundation for future success.
In the past 2 years, one of our star programs is MVP Lab. It went beyond our expectations. MVP Lab, it's a product that supports the entrepreneur to create their idea and convert it to a market-ready product in their really early stages before even having any investment from the VC community or from angel investors.
We closed the pre-seed round after we graduated from the MVP Lab. Within the program, we built our MVP, and in the demo day, we showed the MVP to the investors, and immediately we got a funding round with Nama Ventures and Syndra Ventures.
MVP Lab is a program that is focused on educating entrepreneurs on what it is that they need to be focusing on as early as possible. We get the opportunity to mentor entrepreneurs. We get the opportunity to sit down, guide them. We go through many pitch decks with them.
So we have received this list of startups. I found this one as interesting. They basically work in the AI sector. It's based in Riyadh and backed by Saudi entrepreneurs.
How big is the team?
As of now, the team is 5.
How much are they raising? 120 plus 30, 150, 150.
Yeah.
That gives them 3 months. Should have a sit down with them.
Boost offers grants up to 25,000 Saudi riyals per month for 12 months, allowing full-time founders to focus on what matters most: growth.
It is difficult, especially for someone who already spent time in his career and he established himself and having a family. That was like a little bit a challenge. So that's something that we tap into it.
Some of the entrepreneurs are concerned, if you may, of leaving certain jobs to establish a company with the risk that comes to it. The government comes in, steps in to support in that activity.
Both myself and my technical co-founder are on it. He just joined last month, so we're on different cycles from that.
Tech Crew helps retain top tech talent within SMEs by offering salary subsidies of up to 25,000 Saudi riyals and retention incentives of up to 86,000 Saudi riyals, ensuring startups can attract and keep the professionals they need to grow.
Talent is the core of every startup. Technology startups are competing with the big firms, competing with the government and private sector as well. That competition on talent comes with unique challenges for the Saudi ecosystem.
The thing that we're building is very hard from a technical perspective, and we need to attract the best talents globally. Tech Crew helps us a lot because it subsidizes the cost for us as a deep tech company.
The salaries of developers differ. So we leverage Tech Crew with the highest paid tech staff that we have. Without that, it's going to be relatively costly for us as a startup company to be able to attract top talent and retain them.
They supported us with the staffing, they supported us with the salaries of great engineers and great talent.
We have also Tech Crew as an initiative from NTDP
In our size of company, we are a medium size. Only 3 members of our company can benefit from TechCrew initiative, and we already applied 3 bids.
Next Era offers funding of up to 5 million Saudi riyals, encouraging research in emerging technologies and helping transform academic breakthroughs into marketable products.
The niche technologies like the AI, emerging technologies, IoT, these kind of technologies need more support, more focus. We are providing this kind of support to help the startup, help the investors to at least build something being available and being valuable to everyone in Saudi and globally.
They finance your research. Actually, they grant you the money so you can do your research and development on the deep tech, the new technologies. So in our case, our project is to use robots in our warehouse to optimize our operations and for more efficiency.
R&D tends to be very complicated, and getting access to R&D funding is not easy. However, with a program like this that's purely designed to support R&D activities, just really makes us push the boundaries when it comes down to what can we do in AI and where can we push the limits there.
Connect links startups with potential customers by providing up to 740,000 Saudi riyals to cover POC and ensuring access to the networks that can drive their expansion.
To provide our service to banks, NTDB jumps in at this stage to support this period in order for the large companies to acquire and acknowledge the benefit of the service provided by the startups.
They had programs in Silicon Valley where they invited us to a couple of events there to help us connect with other global startups. Also, they help us here in Saudi to connect with various organizations.
One of the startups that benefited from the Connect initiative was Darent. They got investment from Saudi's biggest insurtech company, Tawniya.
The third time I met Tawniya was through NTDB. We were at that point raising. I heard that they have a venture capital. I reached out with the team, Abdullah Shirgi and his team, and they said, okay, we are looking to invest in that sector.
Tawniya is the biggest insurance company in the MENA region. One of our pillars is to be digital first, and we have a specific investment for digital innovation. I met Dr. Haneen Asba'i in one of the conferences, and she represents one of the value chain for us, especially in the general insurance, to cover the home insurance for this segment of travel.
If we didn't use the Connect program that connects the small company with the big company, we wouldn't reach out to Tawniya and started the business. And from that business, we started, it goes to the investment stage. So it really helped to take us from a level to another level.
Lendtech provides easy access to financing with favorable conditions, offering up to 8.5 million Saudi riyals to fuel growth.
One of the initiatives that had a direct impact on the growth of the business was the Lendtech initiative. We had access to capital with concessional conditions that helped us not only grow the business, but even elevate and enhance the customer experience and the operations.
By utilizing NTDB support and financing, we were able to tackle a lot of challenges often tech startups face when trying to secure financing from traditional bank. We were able to achieve remarkable milestones directly after getting the NTDB financing. We were able to achieve 3x growth in this year. Also, we have been recognized by Deloitte, the second place in Saudi Arabia and the fifth place in MENA region.
We got also engaged with NTDB on very different programs. One of it was Lendtech for getting access to loans to development the technology infrastructure.
For the first initiative, it was Lendtech, about 5 million SAR, to involve us and support our team. It was a good start with NTDB.
We had a small company, but our project is very huge. The life cycle of the project from awarding to implementing till finishing is around 6 months to 1 year. NTDB fund us till we complete the project.
The Unicorn program provides comprehensive support to fast-growing tech companies with the goal of helping them achieve unicorn status.
It's a very selective number of startups. We talk about 35 startups out of hundreds of startups in the region. It's a very good filter for the market, knowing which companies are implementing the best standards. Some of the unicorn startup in the unicorn program already became a unicorn, already showing results, and hopefully all of the 35 companies in that program will end up to be unicorn.
It was one of the most beneficial programs that I've ever seen in the kingdom, especially, and in the region. It has been a very structured program, developing the startups, moving them to the next step with the access to consultants, access to investors.
Relocate offers significant financial grants for global tech companies and Series A+ ventures to establish their operations in Saudi Arabia, with grants of up to 7.4 million Saudi riyals.
Originally, I'm French. Our journey with Saudi started in 2018, where we started to onboard clients in Saudi and have our first entity set up at that time. In 2021, we raised a Series A round with Saudi investors. NTDP called us and said, we have a new initiative called Relocate. This initiative allows companies to relocate their regional headquarters to Saudi. Would you like to be part of it? We thought about it and we said, of course, we have 50% of our revenues in Saudi. We have been very early movers in the region, so especially in the kingdom, and we want to be part of this wave of transformation.
We attracted around 145 global startups to the country. We have two programs actually to attract global startups. We have the relocation program, so we target Series A and above. I believe that we brought around 70 startups through this program, and we have the acceleration program with our international partners. We bring early stage startups to the country through the acceleration program. That's why we brought around 145 startups from all over the world.
Saudi Arabia is the largest economy in the MENA region, with a young, dynamic population and a thriving tech talent pool. These strengths, combined with the stability and a growing appetite for innovation, are why the kingdom is becoming a global destination for startups.
A few weeks ago, we celebrated the last batch of companies who've used the Relocate program to help establish their businesses in Saudi. And among them are many of our Endeavor entrepreneurs ourselves, companies from different geographies using that Relocate program to ease their entrance into Saudi and help establish their teams, their offices, and so on. And I think that kind of support really goes a long way, because expanding into another geography or a market has its own risks.
Relocate is another important initiative where these companies don't know all the channels they need to go through, all the steps that is required for them to be in the Saudi market. And I think bridging that gap through this program was super useful. Two of our companies, is Postex from Pakistan and UAE, have utilized this program. And it's been super useful to take that part off their plate so they can focus on development and focus on building the business. Wellix AI is a recent beneficiary as well from UAE. They're an insurtech and health tech company. It was really amazing because they also focused on just closing deals in the Saudi market rather than worrying about that piece.
NTDP offers venture debt, a non-dilutive funding option for tech companies that have secured Series A investment or higher. With up to 19 million Saudi riyals in support, this innovative financial solution helps accelerate the growth of high-potential tech companies without giving up equity.
Many of the companies that have high capex, they basically need to raise capital, but you don't want them to be diluted that much. So providing debt is one of the important facilities that some of these growth companies would require, and there isn't a lot of options. So NTDP partnered with a local provider, and they basically started to provide that service. And I see it as one of the major, actually, and most important initiatives that they provided.
We pioneered a new structure that is equity-based, non-dilutive. Basically, we enter into these companies through preferred equity, and we gave the options to buy back those equity at regular intervals, and therefore mimicking the income stream that a venture debt would produce. So the underlying instrument is an equity instrument, yet the founder is able to buy back all its equity with a certain pre-agreed return, and therefore achieving this non-dilutive objective which they are looking for to start with. It is a pool of capital that is dedicated, strategically anchored by NTDP, and we managed to get a number of private investors to come and top it up.
With the fund structure, we are trying to provide tailored financial solution toward the scale-ups and the later stage startups with different financial metrics, with certain level of growth in terms of revenues, profitability, loss, expenditures, and different operating expenses structures. So far, we have raised around $45 million, and we will continue to support that fund and make it feasible for the third party, mainly with the private sector.
NTDP is also empowering accelerators, supporting global VC-backed accelerators that meet the highest standards of innovation. By covering up to 75% of their operational costs, NTDP is helping to nurture the next generation of globally competitive startups in Saudi Arabia.
We were quite fortunate to be onboarded quite early with the Accelerators Empowerment Program, of course, which is quite critical to our operations. We were a first cohort of accelerators to be accepted there, so it's been tremendous from that sense. So not only did we manage to raise capital locally, but also there was a lot of incentive and support specifically from the NTDP that made it all possible to establish our presence.
Under Flat 6 Labs, we right now are running the Riyadh Seed Program, which is our flagship accelerator, and we have invested in 41 startups. And all of them have benefited one way or another from NTDP through various programs. Majority of the startups come to Flat 6 Labs, and then we introduce them to NTDP, or they already know about NTDP, and it's a plus that we are partnered with them.
These are just some of the NTDP products. Together, they represent the program's commitment to fostering a thriving, sustainable startup ecosystem.
The way that we designed our products, we said we really would like to hear from the market. We really would like to identify the pain, the gap that we have in the market. So we started to have a lot of interviews, surveys, workshops, focus groups.
We are trying to fulfill those gaps in order to make sure that we are de-risking, and we are trying to accelerate and nudge the market toward more of GDP contribution and job creation.
Every market has its own conditions. When we develop these programs, we have depended on feedback that has come from the ecosystem itself.
The way we prioritize our products and initiatives, we measure their impact, how scalable they are, how much of a gap are they closing in the ecosystem. We always listen to the startup community, take their challenges, and see which products create the highest impact for them, and then we prioritize these products.
NTDP takes an agile approach, continuously refining its programs based on feedback from the market. It's this responsiveness that has made NTDP a cornerstone in Saudi Arabia's tech startup ecosystem.
I always appreciate the team of NTDP for the level of adaptation. They created like more than 20 initiatives. The filtration is always ongoing. What's happening now is that they actually thinking of eliminating some and emphasizing on some according to the learnings that they've got within the last 12 months. And this by itself is very impactful. Imagine that there is a great initiative that is doing well, but because there are some other initiatives that are not doing well, they are sucking the budget of that initiative. And this is where I really admire the team of NTDP, because they are always assessing the performance of these initiatives and making sure that the budget will always allocate it to those who are best performing and best needed.
NTDP's team have been really diligent in being close to the ecosystem and to all the shareholders, including founders and us as investors and other providers as well. And I see this of a very high value because that makes them amend and adjust the programs as needed as in the market, where they could end the program that may no longer be needed and initiate a new one. And that agility in the government is really, really unheard of. And I do know that they're building new stuff that comes with the times we are in today in the ecosystem. As we started to grow from where we were 2 years ago, today we're in a different phase where more demand is coming to Saudi and more technologies like deep tech, interest, and so many others. So we only expect, more from them that will actually serve the ecosystem in Saudi.
The success of NTDP lies not just in its funding, but in its willingness to evolve. Listening to the market and quickly adapting is what makes their approach so effective.
Every time we receive, let's say, a comment or a feedback to improve some of the product, we go immediately and we analyze if this really will add value or will impact the ecosystem in a positive way. Then we start to improve our products. So we keep improving our products as we go. So all the products that we have in our portfolio actually came from the market to the market.
In just a few short years, NTDP has helped over 1,900 startups, facilitating more than 2,000 entrepreneurs. The result? Over 50% of VC investment in Saudi Arabia are now linked to NTDP-backed startups.
One of the challenges that we identified through interviewing most of the VCs or the investors in the ecosystem, that they were saying 3 years ago that no one is focusing on the early stage. We don't have a pipeline for the future. And we have a growth stage, we have late stage, but after 2 or 3 years, we will not have enough pool of startups to invest in at the early stage. So we need you to focus on building the pipeline for the early stage. And actually this is what we do. If you look at our products portfolio, a lot of our products focusing on the early stage. Now, if you look at the last 5 or 6 years data when it comes to the VC investments, especially if you look at the Magnet report, you will find that most of the investments that happened in the past years were either in the growth stage or late stage. For the first time, 2024, the number of the early stage deals and the value of the early stage deals passed the value and the volume of the late stage or growth stage. And most of these startups came through our program.
As NTDP looks to the future, the focus will shift to deep tech sectors like semiconductors, biotech, and generative AI. These areas will drive the next wave of innovation, and NTDP is ready to lead the way.
Building a deep tech startups, it takes a lot of time. It takes minimum 10 years. But in 2025, we would like to start planting the seed.
With a $700 million investment, NTDP has already created over 17,000 jobs and generated a GDP impact of over 9 billion riyals. And they're not stopping here. The future of Saudi Arabia's tech ecosystem is brighter than ever, with NTDP leading the charge.
The future, inshallah, is definitely bright, especially I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're seeing incredible opportunities for growth. In terms of the investment, VC and entrepreneurs, we're seeing the first cycle of investment reaching IPO stage, more M&A activity, so more exits hopefully down the line. We're already seeing that. Vision 2030 has driven a lot of sectors to expand. All these different sectors are seeing significant investment, and it should reflect on the capital markets positively as well. Inshallah, entrepreneurs will be there to capture that.
Moving forward, we really would like to plant the seed for building the deep tech startup ecosystem, semiconductor, biotech, generative AI, PropTech. PropTech is a huge market in Saudi Arabia with all these mega projects that we have in the country, with World Cup 2034 coming, with the Expo 2030 coming, with Asian Champion League coming also in 2027. So we really would like to focus also on PropTech and construction tech as well.
NTDP is more than just funding. It's a movement empowering the next wave of entrepreneurs and shaping Saudi Arabia into a global hub for innovation. It's initiatives like this that make building businesses in the kingdom so exciting. The future is being built here today. I hope you felt the same excitement, and I can't wait to see how Saudi's entrepreneurial spirit continues to inspire the world by building tomorrow today.